What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the best 10 brawlers in this current meta. So the update just dropped yesterday, so I've been playing a lot of Brawl Stars and discovering the meta myself. A lot of balance changes, so hopefully things have changed just a little bit. And just quickly before we go into the video, I'm actually streaming pretty much every single day at 5 p.m. BST time, especially in the week, so make sure to check that out over on Twitch, and also use the creator code in the shop and mine will be greatly appreciated. Without further ado, let's jump into the top 10. So jumping into the 10th best brawler in the game right now, we have Bonnie. So Bonnie has always been in and around the top 20, but I believe in this current meta, she's starting to become even stronger. She was actually the 10th most picked / banned brawler in the recent monthly finals, and after still playing after the update, I don't think there's really been any brawlers kind of added to the meta that really counter her. So I think she's just got even stronger. So she's pretty consistent across the board. She's really strong in heist. She's a decent kind of late pick in bounty, especially against some of those squishier brawlers, and you can pretty much use her really anywhere. I've seen her used in so many different game modes, and the best thing about Bonnie for me, of course, she's a sniper in current form. You can pop the gadget and get so much value and so much aggression, and then as soon as a brawler is, I don't know, around like the 3k mark, Bonnie can just get a free kill every single time if you jump on top of them. And she's also a fantastic counter to a lot of the meta brawlers, you know, like Gus, for example, like B, and even Penny. She's somewhat of a soft counter, so I think Bonnie is really strong in this meta. So now jumping into the 9th best brawler in the game right now, we have Mr. P. So Mr. P went through like a week period where in Power League he was literally drafted pretty much every single time near the Masters rank, and he was a really strong dominant pick. But within the monthly finals, especially within the EU, he wasn't actually drafted too much. So maybe people are overrating Mr. P a little bit. You know, me myself might have overrated Mr. P a little bit, but I still think it's a strong enough pick to get top 10 because he was still in the 15th most picked and banned in monthly. So just going to show that pros do really heavily favor Mr. P. And the reason why he's just so strong is because a lot of the sharpshooters or single shot brawlers are meta right now. You know, like Gus, for example, Stu, B. You also have Crow, who's heavily countered by Mr. P's porters, so he's really strong at the moment. Also, we have some honorable mentions. We'll go through that right now quickly. Max didn't actually reach the top 10 this time around, so funny enough, Max was actually the 3rd most picked / banned brawler within the recent monthly finals. However, she had 11% win rate, so I think that win rate is really alarming. I think NA specifically think Max is really overrated, whilst EU just draft Max everywhere. So I think eventually people will just start to realize that Max isn't that first pick anymore, but she's still a solid option, still on the honorable mentions. And then we have Carl, still a solid carry option, still in my top 15 in my opinion. And then of course Jean's always a really solid meta brawler. Okay, so jumping into the 8th best brawler in the game right now, we have Gray. So the recent buff to his star power, I think this is going to push him just a bit more into that top 10. He was always in and around the top 10 for me. The only reason why I kind of never put him in the top 10 is because he wasn't really used everywhere. I felt like he was too easy to counter in game modes like Gem Grab and Brawl, but I'm starting to see him crop up in those game modes a lot more. He was already such a strong option in Bounty, Knockout, and Hot Zone specifically, and I think now he's just going to start propping up in the meta even more because, you know, especially if that star power didn't get nerfed before the update. Before, it was going to be 75%. That was going to be game breaking. He was going to be the best brawler in the game, but now I still think he's pretty solid. A lot of brawlers would probably end up taking an extra piece of ammo to take him down with that new star power. Next up, moving into the 7th best brawler in the game right now, we have Maisie. So me myself, I probably overrate her a little bit. I would even put it even higher, but for now I think 7th is fair. So recently she received 3 buffs, which I think is going to push her right to the top of the meta. The main reason why Maisie wasn't anywhere near the meta is because that main projectile speed was so slow. It was so easy for people to dodge it. Now it's much faster, now it's much easier to hit, and people start to realize how strong the gadget and super combination is, especially in a game mode like Brawl. And then the cycling, literally 3 shots to get your super, is insane. And as I said, you've still got that gadget to either be aggressive or be defensive if an assassin wants to take you down. So Maisie is just so strong against everything, and as I said, the main reason why she's so good is because of that super. People will realize how game breaking this super is pretty soon. So for me, I think she's easily a top 10 brawler. Next up, jumping into the 6th best brawler in the game right now, we still have Penny. So even though she seems to get a nerf with every single update now, Penny still is one of the best brawlers inside of the game. She's not that brawler that you can just go pretty much everywhere anymore. You can't just first pick her everywhere because she's a little bit more squishy and a little bit more easier to counter, but still, she was the 4th most picked brawler / banned in the recent monthly finals. So just going to show how consistent and how versatile she is still across the meta. I can look at every single game mode and map, and you can make a case of going Penny because she's just pretty solid against everything. But as I said, people are starting to work out her weaknesses, and you might start to see her drift down the meta a bit. Okay, so now moving on to the 5th best brawler in the game right now, I went with B. So B, even with her recent nerfs to her supercharge rate and also the amount of damage her supercharge shot does, I think she's just still so consistent across the board. So this is more of a ranking towards ladder, because within ladder you can pretty much just go B everywhere. You can go B on every single scenario because she's just so solid against everything, and you never know what you're facing off against on ladder. So she's always that good bet that can always deal with pretty much everything in the middle. So for me, she's starting to be picked a little bit less within the draft, especially in monthly finals. Should pick like the 8th most out of every single brawler, but still 8th most. That's still pretty consistent across the board, considering that you can counter her a little bit easier within the draft stage. But for me, I think a good B can absolutely pop off. And also, she recently received a buff with her Rattled Hive gadget, which I think is secretly pretty strong. Okay, so jumping into the 4th best brawler in the game right now, we have Stu. So Stu has leapfrogged up the meta quite high. Before, he was kind of in and around the top 10s, but recently he just feels so strong. He's been drafted so often. He was actually banned / picked for 2nd most out of every single brawler in the game in monthlies. So just going to show that pros really value Stu. So in the right settings, he can absolutely hard carry. Of course, there's a few glaringly obvious counters to him, especially on more longer range maps, but all you need to do is have that kind of patience and not waste that super once, and you can just keep cycling and keep destroying people. So it's a solid option in Brawl, Jam Grab and Hot Zone. Of course, he's super versatile and one of the best brawlers right now. Alright guys, so jumping into the 3rd best brawler in the game right now, we have Gus. So Gus is a support character, but right now I feel like he's carrying the meta. You're not just going to go into every single game though and deal some crazy DPS, but I think overall, the way the game kind of goes, Gus is just such an overall fantastic brawler. You've seen him drafted pretty much all of the time when I'm playing Power League, literally everywhere. I'm seeing him even drafted in Brawl, which normally is his worst game mode because, of course, a lot of times he doesn't have the DPS to keep up, but he also is just such a fantastic counter to a lot of the other mids, you know, like B, for example. He can be pretty good into a B. He's good against Stu as well. Any brawler that's kind of squishy, of course, he's going to counter with his Cookie Popper gadget. And then as well, he can just combine so well with so many other brawlers with that shield. And people are just learning how to hit shots so easily with Gus. You've got a really big hitbox on his main attack, so just making it so easy to charge for his Ghost, charge for his super. And for me, I've always been a big advocate of Gus. He's always been in and around the top 20, right? But right now, he's just been drafted so much. Even in monthly finals, he's like the 7th most picked. And if you go through every single game mode, I think you've got a case everywhere except for Heist, because he just doesn't have the DPS, but everywhere else you can easily go with Gus. Okay, so jumping into the 2nd best brawler in the game right now, we have Crow. So it's pretty fitting because recently his Phoenix Crow skin did get remodeled, and you know, you can rock one of the best skins in the game whilst also playing one of the best brawlers in the game. So really good fit for this update. But yeah, across the board, I just think he's so consistent, and he was picked, I think, the 5th most out of every single brawler in the game. So just going to show pros really favor him. There's a really solid option in pretty much every Hot Zone map. Also Heist as well, of course, is a really good option, just countering so many different brawlers with that slow. Brawl, of course, Gem Grab, you can even play him as a mid, and that's also one of the main reasons why he's actually starting to go up in the meta. You know, in previous metas, even when his gadget used to slow for 5 seconds, he wasn't really classed as a mid, but then people started to use him mid to counter a lot of different brawlers. So that's why he's just started to evolve into this really OP character. Alright guys, so jumping into the best brawler in the game right now, we still have Shelly. So some reason people are still doubting this Shelly. Just stop doubting her, because I've got the stats to back it up. I've seen everyone talking about Shelly this week, and because within monthlies, this win rate is absolutely insane, by the way. So she was picked 29 times and she won 26 times. So that's an 89% win rate in competitive. I've never seen numbers like that when it comes down to monthly finals. A lot of times, you know, it's pretty obvious, you know, say like Buster, for example, he'll just end up getting banned out, but still, even the pros are underrating Shelly. But now I think it's pretty clear how broken she is. She's just so strong against everything. Her Clay Pigeons gadget can just snipe people across the map, build up her super, and you can get so much pressure with that fast movement speed. Just everything about her is so strong. So for me, I think she's so obviously the best brawler in the game. It's not even close. Right, guys, it's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. So it's pretty fitting that the first brawler that you unlock in the game is still the best brawler in the game right now. But very fast movement speed, I think, is clearly the thing that makes her too strong. But do you really want to make Shelly one of the worst brawlers in the game again? For me, I would maybe keep that very fast movement speed. I know it's pretty broken, right? I think probably nerfing something like the Clay Pigeons gadget would be a nice change to her. But overall, I kind of like Shelly meta. I don't know about you guys. It's just pretty fun to play her. She's one of my favorite brawlers. But anyway, so that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.